Mu'mineen, I'd like to introduce our first guest for this evening. He is no stranger here at Masjid-e-Ali. It's so good to see him again, and we look forward to hearing from him. Let me introduce who he is. He is Dr. Naweed Sayyid. He is a developmental neuroscientist and a professor of cell biology and anatomy at the University of Calgary in Canada. He obtained his doctorate in neurophysiology in the United Kingdom and came to Calgary to complete his postdoctoral training. He has an active research program in the field of brain development, and in 2005, he was the first to develop a bionic hybrid, meaning that he was able to develop a communication between brain cells and electricity. He has been featured in Time magazine, on the Discovery Channel, and he has more than 100 papers published in scientific journals. And for those that are into sciences like I am, you'd be very impressed that he's been published in the Journal of Nature, in the Journal of Science, in Neuron, and in the Journal of Neuroscience. It's really, truly encouraging to see an intellectual come out of this Shia Muslim community who is doing fantastic things on not only a national level, but on an international level as well. Mu'mineen, please help me welcome Dr. Naweed Sayyid with the loudest of your salawat, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen. Khataman Nabiyyin Ahmad al Mursaleen Abil Qasim Muhammad. وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الحكيم وهو أصدق الصادقين. मदीना और नजफ़ व करबला में रहता है, मदीना और नजफ़ व करबला में रहता है, दिल एक वजह की आबो हवा में रहता है। दुरूद पढ़ता हूँ पहले भी और बाद में भी, इसीलिए तो असर भी दुआ में रहता है। बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलावत। First of all, I like to extend my most heartfelt salutation to the Imam of our time on the occasion of Eid Ghadeer. I would also like to congratulate you on the opening and also the anniversary of Masjid-e-Ali. Imam Jafar has recommended that we must celebrate Eid Ghadeer with full passion and commitment. And I think your presence here is really an endorsement of that how much you really value this particular occasion. Thank you for your kind introduction. I don't think I'm worthy of it. Imam Ali was once praised in front of his face, and he said to people that Allah knows me more than I do, and I know more than about myself than you do. Then he went on to say, "O Lord, make me a better person than what they have imagined me to be, and conceal my weaknesses that they are not aware of." I am not a scholar or a religious scholar. I'm just a neuroscientist, so I can tell you a few things about brain, not much about the religion. Only if I had managed to drop a D out of my name, which is Naweed, I may have come closer to our learned scholar, Maulana here, Sheikh Nawi. The D, which is in Naweed, it actually kept me a little bit away. I'd also like to thank the organizers, especially Dr. Iqbal Jafri, Aftab Bhai, Asad Saab, and Karzai Saab for their wonderful hospitality. And the things that you are doing at this center is absolutely remarkable, and I think you all need to be really congratulated. In my view, this really is one of the best centers in North America, and in the efforts that you have put in, inshallah, you will begin to realize its impact in years to come when you see your younger generation move forward and do so well. So I'd like to congratulate all the organizers of this particular team for such a fantastic job. I travel around the world, but the vision that they have set up here, I think is impeccable, and I think it really a great deal of credit goes to them for setting this up. And Dr. Aftab was also somehow trying to invite terrorists here. So I would stay away from them. And I would say that कब भला अपने बुजुर्गों से ये कम लाते हैं, वो सनम लाते थे मस्जिद में, ये बम लाते हैं. But I think also I would really like to also say that this particular center and all of our centers and Majlis-e-Azah is really a unique institution. It's a wonderful university. No one else has this. Here you have young children, you have elderly, you have women, you have men, you have, everything that you could imagine is taught here, from science to Quran to history to philosophy to logic. Everything is delivered here. And I think what my message to younger generation will be that we should do everything to protect this particular institution, and you support the organizers in any which way that you can to really enhance the capacity of this center and make it one of the best. I would like to really say is that Sharaf ke shahr mein har bamo dar Hussain ka hai. Sharaf ke shahr mein har bamo dar Hussain ka hai. सभी घरानों में ऊंचा वो घर हुसैन का है. ज़मीन खा गई क्या क्या बुलंदो बाला दरख्त, हरा भरा है जो अब भी शजर हुसैन का है. And I think they cannot really take this community and move our community forward on their own. They actually need the support of all of you to give them a lending hand. And you can see that, mashallah, we have one of the fantastic institutions. We have our leadership from our imams and from Quran and then the prophets. And yet we have not really realized our full potential as a community that we could have. I was recently in Pakistan, and it's really heartbreaking to see that we have started to call each other as muqassir, or we started calling each other names as somebody's Nasari, and that really is very, very distracting, and it's not good for our community. I think what you have to really realize is that there are people who are malangs, and all they do is Ali, Ali. As we say that faqih शहर को हैरान कलंदरों ने किया, गली गली निकलाए अली अली करते. These people, using their own imagination and their own knowledge, they have come to the realization that Muawiyah did not let the name of Imam Ali come from any podium. Muawiyah, for 10 years, he cursed Imam Ali from every member. And for 300 years, Bani Umayyah, they actually did nothing but curse Imam Ali. And these malangs at the end have decided that if we are to do anything, that's what we will do. And we will do Ali Ali. And I think, they are doing their job, they are doing their part, and may Allah be pleased, may Bibi Fatima Salamullah alayha bless them for their efforts, because this is also a one core thing that our community has really now striving to do. On the other hand, you also see that there are people who come out and do Ya Hussein, do Matam, and open in Jalusis, and they do Zanjir, they do Qamazani. They also have realized that we will not let these people forget Karbala the way the Ghadeer has been forgotten. May Allah be pleased with them. May Bibi Fatima Salamullah alayha give them the credit. And I think we living in this society, it's really incumbent upon us to do our part, and that is to drive the intellectual and also the education and then the forefront engine of our community forward. As you know that when Prophet Musa, he was trying to take his nation and trying to cross, and when he created a tunnel, everybody started arguing that if he is going, I'm not going to go with you in this tunnel. They were all arguing, they were all fighting. He ended up creating 9 to 12 different tunnels so people could actually go. As long as we have one direction to go and we have one imam and our leader, we will reach our destination. But we need to be tolerant of each other. We need to have to really accept our fellow mu'mineen and mu'minat in whatever the faith and the contributions they make. Our intellectual, which is our brain, is the seat of intellect, as Imam Ali has also described, but it cannot go anywhere on its own. You cannot take your brain and my brain decides that it's going to now go and get some food. It cannot. Unless I have my limbs, my feet, my legs attached to it. So our Shia society is really like 5 fingers. And I can tell you that even though this one is smallest, this is the biggest and perhaps most used. If you look at the maps of these 2 fingers, thumb and your small finger in your brain, they are right next to each other. So I think as a community, what we need to do is to really come together. And even if we are very, very fragile, like snowflakes, if we are together, we can create an avalanche. An avalanche that will really take this whole world and whole ummah going forward. Also, I think what we have to make sure that our centers stay abad. Because you may think that sab chale jate hain shabbir ko rokar akbar, sab chale jate hain shabbir ko rokar akbar, ek bachchi nahi jati hai Azaa Khanon se. That Bibi is here all the time. And she's looking among us the ways that we could remember her father and then the mission of Ahlul Bayt. So this is really incumbent upon a younger generation to make sure that we keep this candle burning as hard and as fast as we can. Imam Ali once said that the learned man understands the ignorant because once he himself was an ignorant person. An ignorant person never knows and learns about a learned person because he's never been. So I think one of the most important thing in my point of view, my view, is that we have to make sure that our younger generation is better than us. Somebody asked, as I pointed out last time as well, somebody asked Wayne Gretzky, who's most famous hockey player, that how do you score so many goals and how you have so many assists? And he said, I don't wait for my puck to come to me. I actually go out to my puck. I skate where the puck is. And I don't pass puck to my partner where he is. I pass him where he's supposed to be, ahead of it. So I think what we also need to do is to, for our younger generation, we have to pass on deen to them, not where we received, but we have to really elevate it and raise it so they have much better receptive capacity moving forward. So I often really ask myself a question, and I think many of my younger colleagues here do as well, is as a Shia, what really is the purpose of our lives? And I think this is something that we have to, especially with our younger children, discuss as to what really is the purpose of my life as a Shia. I say a life of purpose is the purpose of life. And I also say that the Shia, often we believe that the Shias were created only to cry. And I think crying is one very, very natural act. And every baby who's born cries. And it's interesting, if you go into the neonatology units in hospital, you see when one baby cries, all the other ones cry as well. So crying is a very, very fundamental principle. This cannot be the sole purpose that we were created for. I think this is something to really think about for our younger generation, that we cry on the sufferings of Imam Hussein because he was Mazloom. But that cannot just be the sole purpose if we forget the actual mission of all of our Imams, and that is to aspire and to lead the world. And I think, in my view, a Shia's mandate and a Shia's perspective is that we were created to lead the humanity. We were created to lead the humanity in all the disciplines and all the facets. And this is what our jobs ought to be. We have to make sure that our children are most educated, they are most advanced in technology, that they are actually cutting edge of all the technologies. And I think this is the only way that we will survive. Otherwise, with the quality of life, standard of living and wages, if we do not become an innovation-savvy nation, we will be doomed. We will be doomed, we will be eliminated and replaced by others. So why is it really important for us to acquire knowledge? Because as you know, to know your Creator, you need to have knowledge. In our medical school, when students actually study, we do not give them grades, divisions, or percentages. They're simple fail or pass. Your IQ has already brought you to a certain level. And from here onwards, IQ doesn't count for much. It's your social and emotional intelligence. And I think this is something that we should also try to aspire, is the social and emotional intelligence in our children. And I think it's the only way after this that you will acquire the spiritual intelligence. The spiritual intelligence is the highest form of intelligence. And it ought to be part of our community because, mashallah, our people are social as well as emotionally very, very intelligent. You ask any Shia a simple question, they will really blow your minds away. And so I think this is something that we have to, and the other paradigm we have to adopt is the service to society. Because service is the rent we pay for the privilege of being part of a great society. And I think our community has to aspire to make sure we get out and do what's really best for humans, of putting a smile on a child's face. And if one life breathes easily because of us, this is what our imams would have told us to do. And I think this is what we should do to make sure that we are fully integrated in a general society. And I think this knowledge, again, has the two bases. One is to recognize your creator, and the other one is the service to society. And I think this is just as important. When Allah created Prophet Adam, he said, Inni jailun fil arzi khalifa. The angels objected to it. He said, you're creating a race that will shed blood. Adam had not performed salat. Adam had not gone for Hajj. Adam had not fasted. His clay-made fresh embodiment still had water dripping from it. The test was really a few questions, a few isma. The angel said, we don't know. Adam responded. Allah asked them to do sajda to Adam. So the first sajda that Allah ordered to angels to do was to Prophet Adam. Right? If sajda of ta'zeem is shirk, ma'azallah, Allah has committed the first shirk. It's not actually shirk. It's something that because it's out of the respect. And the other important thing to realize is the knowledge that Allah had asked Adam, endowed Adam first, and then asked all the angels to do sajda to him. That really set the foundation for the creation of our universe, or our earth as we see. And when Allah wanted to be discovered, wanted to be found, He created human race. And then He sent all these prophets who came down to help us understand and get to our Creator. And as most of these prophets came, as you know, that they had limited knowledge, because at that time, if you look at the evolutionary process of the interworkings of the brain, human brain was not fully developed. 5,000 years ago, we acquired the ability to create languages. We acquired the ability to create alphabets. Okay. Otherwise, we had a very different structures in our brain. So as a result, when the local capacity was not enhanced, all prophets had to ask for miracles. And these miracles were used to convince people. And as a result, their iman was also not at the same level as you will see later. They would always ask the Prophet, Allah, and they will say, I know you will resurrect people, bring them from dead, but I would like to see it for my own satisfaction. Could you show me? And as our brain evolved, and you will see that the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, came. Our human intellect had reached a really very high level. We had developed languages, and we were able to communicate much better. And at that time, the world came, Iqra bismika allazi khalaq. Read in the name of thy Lord who created you. That was the intellectual revolution, reaching at its pinnacle. And at that stage, Prophet said, I will put ayah Inna atainaka al-kawthar fasalli li rabbika wanhar on the walls of Kaaba and asked them to bring her. And as a result, Prophet never had to show any miracles or needed a miracle. And then the iman that was infiltrated further down into Imam Ali, when Prophet said, Oh Ali, go and sleep on my bed because these people are conspiring to kill me. Imam Ali said, Oh Prophet of Allah, will your life be saved? He said, yes. He didn't ask any other question. So with that knowledge that was also engraved into him came the tremendous faith whereby he did not need any miracles to go by. And that's one of the reasons the Prophet also said, Ana madinatul ilmu aliyun babuha. Ali is actually the gateway that leads up to me as a city. Medina is the actually city. And you will see that throughout the entire our history and time of Imam Ali, his knowledge he always used to say that the knowledge creates fear of Allah. Knowledge creates humility in human beings. These are all aspects of social and emotional intelligence. Imam Ali said, also, your knowledge is life to your soul. It commands respect, empowerment. It commands obedience, service to society. He used to say that an intellectual is alive even after death, when an ignorant person is living dead. It makes you immortal. So if I publish papers, and if our younger children will publish papers and book chapters, they will always be in the library. You will live forever. Our trainees who stand on our shoulders, they will see much further than we did at our time. So in them, you live vicariously forever. Knowledge actually makes you immortal. And also, I think Imam Ali has said that it's actually salvation even after death. So when you die in your grave, there will be 4 fires burning. Namaz will come and put out one. Your fast will come and put out the other fire. And then your charity will come and put out the 3rd fire. And then knowledge will come and put out the 4th. And it will say at that time that had I come earlier, I would have put out all the fires. And now you can sleep, there shall be no troubles for you. So our Imams have at all level, even in this world and hereafter, and after our death, has really not forgotten the value of knowledge and how it trumps everything else that we do. Imam Ali also said that knowledge is useless unless it's put to practice. We often sit in our living rooms and drawing rooms and we talk the falsafa and talk about Nahj al-Balagha, but we actually don't embody this personally. And we also don't share our knowledge with others. And I think sharing is just as really important, that if you know something, you should have a healthy dialogue. So I would really encourage this community, which is intellectually enlightened more than other communities, to really have that open dialogue. We have to listen to each other, we have to tolerate each other, and we have to learn to respect each other. And I think this is a provision that opens the door for our future growth as well. So as you can see that all aspects of Islamic teachings were based on knowledge and the actual characters of Prophet and our Imams. But even then, our deen was not complete. And the last Hajj, Prophet came at the place of Ghadeer, and he asked everybody to stop. He waited for others to come back, and he collected people from all sides. And Ghadeer is that pinnacle, I think, that we are gathered here to celebrate. O Messenger, proclaim the message that has been sent to you from your Lord. If you did not do this, you did not fulfill your commitments, and proclaimed his mission. And Allah will defend you from men. So Prophet knew that there was a fear. There were people who would probably hurt him or whatever his message or announcement would be. For Allah does not guide those who reject faith. And you can see that moment, what was it that was not communicated? It's really a moment of serious thought. What was it that was not communicated at that time? That left the religion incomplete, left the religion really, in many ways, Allah's favors were not complete, and Islam was not chosen. It was actually the wilayah of Imam Ali. And that was really the pinnacle of that time, that Prophet started his sermon by saying that Inni tariqum fikum as-saqalain kitab Allahi wa itrati. I leave behind 2 things, 2 grand lofty things. And one is Quran and the other is Ahlul Bayt. Then he went on to say that don't I have the right over you more than you do have rights on yourself? They all nodded yes. And then he raised Imam Ali's head and he says, Man kuntu maulahu fahaza aliyun maula. Ya Nabi, aapne man kuntu kaha hai jab se, kitne ashab ko deewana bana rakha hai. 3 ही तो वो मकामात हैं मक्के में जहाँ संग हर शख्स ने हाथों में उठा रखा है. गुम ना हो जाएं कहीं हश्र के हंगामों में, इसलिए दो को तो पहलू में. And with this declaration of Imam Ali came the ayah. And it says, this day I have perfected your religion for you. I have completed my favors upon you, have chosen for you Islam as your religion. So as I have given you the entire journey about the knowledge, the endorsement of Imam Ali on top of all other Shari'i obligations, the wilayah of Imam Ali, which is really the seal of knowledge, was of utmost importance, and that's what completed Islam. So I think we should take a tremendous pride that among us we celebrate that great grand personality who has really completed religion and also has completed the favors of Allah upon us and have chosen our religion, Islam, for us. And I will, in closing, like to say that it's really, we should do everything in our capacity to make sure that our children are associated and affiliated with our centers. One of the reporters asked me, and he said, one thing I don't really get it, and where do you derive your inspiration from? And I said to him, I said, Quran and Ahlul Bayt. And he said, I understand Quran, but what is Ahlul Bayt? So I introduced Ahlul Bayt. And he said, you have very strong faith. And I said to him, I said, look, I can write the best essay using my intellect. If you take this light off, I cannot read it. So this light is that nur of my faith that provides true meaning to my knowledge. And this is something that we have to make sure that our children are completely engraved in the actual Masjid-e-Ali Muhammad to make best of their own knowledge. I had a professor, she came from Montreal, and she gave a lecture about ilm and iman among the Shiites. So this was her PhD thesis. She's Christian. At the end, I asked her the question, and I said, if you were to convert to Islam today from Christianity, which sect of Islam would you pick and why? And she looked at me and started smiling, and she said, you must be a Shia, because only a Shia could ask such a critical question. She said, of course I will be Shia, because this is the only fiqh where each and every imam has really emphasized knowledge through generations. So I think this is something that we should pride ourselves and push our children and push each other and take the lead. And as well, really to make sure that we respect and tolerate each other. We are all belong to the Masjid-e-Ali Muhammad. We are all 10% people maybe on this side, 10% on that side, 80% is still mainstream. We should push ahead as united and both in faith, in spirit, and in our obligations as well. And I would like to really end by, I read this last time when I was here, and I was requested again to really summarize my talk in Urdu poetry. दजलाए नार है दश्ते पुरखार है आगही का समर हरफ़े इनकार है हर बशर के लिए इल्म दरकार है आदमी का सफ़र राह इनकार है बंदगी के लिए रोशनी के लिए आगही के लिए इल्म ही चाहिए ज़िंदगी का सफ़र मौत से मुत्तसिल मौत आती नहीं इल्म व इरफान को फ़िक्र इंसान को मौत आती नहीं हक़ को ईमान को सच्चे इंसान को मौत आती नहीं रूह इंसान को ऐसे इंसान से कुल्ले ईमान से रोशनी चाहिए आशिकी चाहिए इल्म सफ़ीना बना इल्म मदीना बना जस्ते महराज का इल्म जीना बना क़ुर्बते रब बना हिजरते शब बना आबे ज़मज़म बना हौज़े कौसर बना नूर वाहिद बना सबका मौला बना अब इसी नूर से अब इसी तूर से रोशनी चाहिए आगही चाहिए इल्म तजदीद है बंदगी के लिए इल्म तहरीर है बंदगी के लिए इल्म ही नूर है इल्म ही तूर है इल्म मज़दूर है इल्म मंसूर है इल्म खैरुल बशर इल्म खैरुल वरा इल्म कश्फुद्दुजा इल्म बलगुल उला इल्म खैरुन निसा इल्म आले अबा इल्म मुश्किल कुशा علم دست دعا، علم بحر و وفا، علم دست رضا، علم خاک شفا، علم ہے کربلا، کربلا چاہیے زندگی کے لیے، روشنی کے لیے، آگہی کے لیے کربلا چاہیے۔ علم و عرفان سے نابلد ہو گیا، زندگی کا مزہ بے سبب ہو گیا۔ ایسے بے علم کو، ایسے بے حلم کو، ایسے رجحان کو، ایسے نادان کو، ایسے اذہان کو، ایسے فقدان کو، ایسے سفیان کو، ایسے مروان کو، ایسے حیوان کو، ایسے بے جان کو زندگی چاہیے، روشنی چاہیے، کربلا چاہیے، کربلا چاہیے۔